Well, let's begin the show with the AM news. And for decades, children born with cleft lip and palate across Ghana and much of Africa have lived in the shadows, stigmatized, isolated, and in many cases, dangerously misunderstood. But a historic step has been taken to rewrite that narrative in Africa. The Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital, in partnership with the Ghana Cleft Foundation and Global Cleft Charity Smile Train, has commissioned the continent's first national cleft care center. Bryan Acheampong has more in this report.
The ultra-modern facility has an outpatient department and consulting rooms, 4 theaters with pre-operative and post-operative wards, laboratories, stores, lecture halls, a library, technical services working area, and a playground. Fully funded by Smile Train at a cost of $2 million, the facility is located within the precinct of CAT and is designed to offer corrective surgery and a full spectrum of comprehensive cleft care, including nutrition support, speech therapy, orthodontics, oral health, and psychosocial counseling. Acting head of the new center and consultant oral and maxillofacial surgeon, Dr. Solomon Obriyebwa, noted.
And there's a lot of stigma about these children because there's sort of a defect or a deformity on their face. And because of the incomplete formation of the lip, there's a gap. And that because of that gap, they can't come out. They can't go to school, and we have situations where parents were actually excommunicated from a community just because they gave birth to a child with cleft. We have situations where a child was born with cleft and he was going to be sacrificed to the river god because they thought that he's coming from the river god. But these are all not true. A child born with cleft is as normal as anybody.
For years, cleft conditions in many African communities have been falsely linked to curses, spiritual punishment, or bad omens. But the facility at CAT signals a bold new chapter.
That every child who is born with a cleft deserves to live a full and healthy life. And that we do by providing free, safe, high-quality, comprehensive cleft care, which science has proven that is the second commonest congenital malformation in the world. As a matter of fact, 1 in every 1,200 of African or African descent is born with a cleft.
Ashanti Regional Minister Dr. Franka Mwakohene, speaking at the ceremony, emphasized the deeper meaning behind the center's opening.
This event is not just a ceremony, but it is a celebration of compassion, science, and an enduring commitment to our health equity. Today is not just cutting of a ribbon, but we are opening a door to opportunity, to inclusion, and to the reaffirmation of every child's right to smile without shame and to live without stigma.
Among the most moving moments were the testimonies from patients and families whose lives have been transformed.
I was born with a condition that made me a different. I underwent several surgeries that changed my life. Thanks to the incredible people who stood by me, I now boldly smile just like everyone else.
The event was attended by health professionals, government officials, patients, children, and parents from across Africa, all united by a shared goal: to end the silence, dispel the myths, and replace stigma with smiles. For Joy News, Bryan Acheampong, Kumasi.
Well, away from that, grassroots leaders of the NPP in the Volta region have officially thrown their support behind Abetifi MP, Bryan Acheampong, as the party's next presidential candidate. Speaking at a press briefing in Ho, polling station executives, constituency officers and coordinators praised Dr. Champon as a result-oriented leader with a strong track record of commitment to the party's grassroots. Ho Central Women's Organizer of the NPP, Thelma Adzima, urged the national leadership of the NPP to give greater weight to the voices of the party's base in determining the NPP's future direction.
So I will support the institution with a lot of computers.
If you go to the University of Ghana Business.
Honorable Bryan Acheampong is a leader who listens, respects the base, and then has consistently worked to strengthen the party structures, even in times when others stayed away. His track records, speaking for itself, as follows. He has empowered communities through initiatives such as borehole construction, farm inputs, and educational support. He has demonstrated his commitment in promoting education, healthcare, hospitality, and economic empowerment. He values the role of police station executives, our coordinators, and the constituency leaders in building a winning party. We admonish all presidential hopefuls, national executives, and former appointees against neglecting the grassroots, the true owners and builders of our party, NPP. The party's success also relies on the police station executives, foot soldiers, and coordinators who drive its machinery at the community level. Don't overlook the importance of the grassroots.
Meanwhile, back here in Accra, Bryan Acheampong has called for more priority to be given to AI as he believes artificial intelligence is rapidly shaping the world. Addressing students as a keynote speaker at the UNIMAC IJ seminar on AI, the former Agric Minister called on government institutions and private partners to place greater priority on artificial intelligence, describing it as the engine that will drive the future.
So I will support the institution with a lot of computers. If you go to the University of Ghana Business School, one of my companies, Rock City Hotel, built the ICT center in the business school. Yes, and I think about 3 or 4 years ago, and it's still functioning. So I am going to donate 50 computers to UNIMAC. And some AI tools. To support my school. We need to now get Ghanaians to develop AI-related tools for our consumption. And when it is developed by Ghanaians, get Ghanaians to support it. And that is where we are. So we are pretty much at the early stages of it. The second one is, how do you use AI to combat misinformation? I think it's the easiest question to answer. Just spend time searching the question online. Most of the time, you will get the right information from verifiable sources.
After a journey filled with challenges, 18-year-old Virtues from St. Mary's Boys College finally basked in the glory of recognition. He was one of 6 exceptional candidates celebrated at the prestigious 2024 WASAI Distinction Award. This moment not only honored his relentless hard work, but also rekindled his dreams and brought pride to his school. There's more in this report by WASAI.
In a heartwarming moment, 18-year-old Virtues Acheampong, a brilliant student from St. Mary's Boys College, had his fortune turn around when he was granted a scholarship on stage at the 2024 WASAI Distinction Award ceremony. When all seemed lost for Virtues, the story changed. The best visual art student, who had been pursuing a certificate course due to financial constraints, was visibly moved as he received the life-changing award. Virtues was one of 6 exceptional students recognized for their brilliance, grit, and academic excellence. Overwhelmed with gratitude, he expressed his deep appreciation for the support shown him.
I want to thank God for how far He brought me. At first there wasn't hope, but now He's paid a way for me to continue my tertiary education. And I promise to put in all my best.
The ceremony wasn't just about celebrating academic achievement, it also served as a platform for key stakeholders to address pressing issues in the education sector. Education Minister Haruna Idrisu warned that the government would deal ruthlessly with students and teachers involved in examination malpractice.
And to GES, Deputy Director General, you have the full backing of the state to deal ruthlessly with any student who wants to walk without integrity, as both parents and teachers.
He also charged the West African Examinations Council and the Ghana Education Service to work together to restore Ghana's academic calendar to pre-COVID times.
I'm also using this platform to reiterate our strong desire to see the restoration of the academic calendar for both the Basic Education Certificate Examination, BECE, and the West African Senior School Certificate Examination, WASAI, to its pre-COVID schedule.
WAEC boss Dr. Rosemond Wilson didn't mince words, describing teachers who aid in cheating as betrayers of the system.
Teachers who aid examination malpractices betray their noble calling and destroy the very future they are meant to build.
Amira Isifu from Legacy Girls College, the only female among the awardees, shared words of encouragement for young girls striving to make their mark.
In a world where the males dominate the workspace, you can still rise to the top. Yeah.
David Nikome Ankara, the overall best student, emphasized that integrity is the foundation of great leadership.
Our country is being filled with half-baked scholars who just pass the exam by cheating or going through groups or sending papers to examinations. Those are not the leaders we want.
The event didn't just honor students, it sounded a clear call. Hard work still pays, and integrity will no longer be optional in Ghana's classrooms. For Joy News, Adobe Asari.
Away from that, the maiden edition of the annual Sociological and Anthropological Lecture Series, organized by the University of Cape Coast Department of Sociology and Anthropology, revisited the intellectual legacy of W.E. Dubo and initiated fresh dialogue on race, slavery, African heritage, Pan-Africanism, and the importance of unity. Speaking at the lecture, the head of the Social Sciences Department at the Central University, Dr. Joseph Okran, empowered Africans to recognize barriers that divide the continent, adding that if bonds within the continent are not strengthened, once created beyond the continent will be weak and narrow.
Lecture was a collaboration between the UCC Department of Sociology and Anthropology and the Du Bois Museum Foundation, highlighting the theme of the lecture, reclaiming the narrative, W.E.B. Du Bois, Race, Slavery, Pan-Africanism and Our Heritage. The head of the UCC Department of Sociology and Anthropology, Professor Georgina Yaudro, says,
It is important to us, and the reason why it's the first theme for this annual Sociological and Anthropological series, because though he was a black that contributed to the discourse, not much is known about him. So the essence is to sensitize, the essence is to educate, the essence is to let the students know, but also beyond the student, the bigger community, to know that we have this person who did so much for us in the African consciousness. The second speaker is going to speak the double consciousness, the fact that sometimes we are torn. Are we really African? As the second speaker raised the issue, who is an African? Is it a natural construct or it's a social construct? We can have a white who is so African in orientation and in his or her presentation. So it's a discourse, it's an intellectual exercise to challenge people, to get them to think, to rethink about identity, about heritage, about who we are and where we are moving to. So that is actually part of the essence of this lecture series.
Dr. Joseph Okran, the head of the Department of Social Sciences at the Central University, shares the significance of events that highlight the history of Africans.
Knowledge is an important part of this discourse. We have to know what is really happening. And once we have understood what is happening, then we can contribute our efforts into this venture. It's intellectual, so we need to have that comprehension. That way we can also contribute to that intellectual aspect of the discourse. And then there is an empirical component. Du Bois did not only write, he took the necessary actions. He came to Ghana to work on the Encyclopedia Africana. So then what actions are we going to take? So such conversations, it is our hope that such conversations would also spur these students on, that whilst they read, whilst they think, it will perhaps encourage them into taking the necessary action.
The chairperson of the lecture, Professor Rufela Kombe, shares that Pan-Africanism and its related discourses intertwine with all aspects of academia to improve future advancement of knowledge.
This program, even though it has been linked to Du Bois, a number of other Pan-African groups that looked at education over the period, and then its disparities, the misconceptions that led into slavery and the rise of Pan-Africanism. It's all intertwined. It's knowledge, it's academic discourse.
From UCC, Abigail Lissel Nkrumah reports for Joy News.
Student leaders have been equipped with knowledge and tools to lead the fight against drug abuse in their schools. This forms part of activities marking World Drug Day. Speaking at the event, Vice President Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman called for a balanced approach and support systems for those already affected by substance abuse. And Odame has more.
Addressing the gathering, the Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, who said compassion should be given a chance in tackling illicit drug use, also charged the Narcotics Control Board and its stakeholders to remain resolute in their quest to stop the canker.
Ghana is investing in practical preventative solutions to address the root causes of substance abuse and the destruction of over 16 metric tons of seized drugs just last week is proof that we are active in this fight. Every gram destroyed is potentially a life saved. Let us support the Commission and its allied institutions by providing the tools, the training, the resources necessary to stay ahead of these evolving threats.
The Director General of the Narcotics Control Board, Director General Brigadier M.O. Marty, acknowledged how sophisticated drug cartels have become, reason why they are working to eliminate such networks.
That's why what appears to be a gloomy situation. Ghanaians are definitely neither helpless, bystanders, nor are we powerless. Here in Ghana, we, the Narcotics Control Commission, is strong in collaborating with our national security institutions and valued international partners, continue to lead a fierce and focused campaign against illicit drugs. Through tactical border control, intelligence-driven interdictions, the pursuit of strict prosecutions, and the confiscation of criminal assets.
In line with this, the King of Ikwamuman, His Royal Majesty Odeneho Kwafu Akoto III, gifted the Narcotics Control Board 100 acres of land for the construction of a training school resourced with modern equipment to combat drug trade.
It is a call to strengthen our collective resolve to prevent drugs abuse and protect our communities, especially our young people from the grip of drug abuse and addiction. On my part, as the community and that of my people, we have allocated about 100 acres of land to enable the Narcotics Control Commission to establish a training school at Akamu. To train their personnel and other professionals in the fight and control of narcotics in Ghana and beyond.
That's where students like Precious and Kelvin will be heading to after school, so they can be trained as they say they are poised to help rid Ghana of illicit drug use.
I'll try my possible best to educate my friends on the dangers and causes of drugs and how they can prevent themselves from taking drugs.
Drug abuse is not only an individual problem but a national emergency, and also every gram of drug destroyed is a life saved. So this tells me that no matter the circumstance, whether poor academic performance or any emotional trauma I'm going through, I must not resort to drug because drug does not help in any way.
I am Hannah Odame for Joy News.
All right, now the Deputy Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Export Promotion Authority has reviewed plans of establishing an export training school in Cape Coast. The Chief Executive Officer, Ambrose Edwin Nsako, while speaking at the launch of the 2025 Central Expo, shared that the authority's partnership with this year's Expo aligns with its commitment to promoting export knowledge, indicating the authority is happy to be associated with an event that harnesses the rich endowment of the Central region.
I duly launched the Central Regional Expo 2025.
The 2025 Central Expo has officially been launched. The event brought together stakeholders, tourism enthusiasts, and industry players to commission this year's edition of an event that promotes tourism, trade, and investment. Ambrose Edwin Nsako indicated that the Central Expo is a way to exploit the rich resources and opportunities in the Central region.
GEPA provides trade facilitation services to assist businesses in navigating the complex international trade landscape. We provide training and capacity building initiatives designed to enhance the competitiveness and readiness of our exporters, of which we are planning to do an export school training in Cape Coast very soon.
All right, time to bring you business update on the AM News, and Sweetie Aborchi is here for that.
This is the business update on the AM News, and our very first story. The Bank of Ghana has reversed its earlier decision to terminate the appointment of nearly 100 personnel recruited in December 2024, following growing public attention and internal discussions. We'll tell you more.
The decision, which had initially been justified by the central bank as a routine post-probation review, is now shrouded in uncertainty, with the latest move raising questions about the original grounds for the layoffs. Sources close to the development confirmed to Joy Business that the affected staff have been informed that their contracts will no longer be terminated as earlier communicated. The sources say the decision was taken at a board meeting held this week, and that the affected staff have been asked to resume work next week. While the Bank of Ghana is yet to issue an official statement explaining the reversal, internal sources say pressure from within and outside the institution may have influenced the change in course. According to that account, 97 individuals did not pass the probationary assessment and were issued termination letters dated 19th June 2025 with an effective termination date of 23rd June 2025. The affected recruits were entitled to 1 month's salary in lieu of notice and asked to return all institutional property. However, this latest reversal casts doubt on whether the original termination decision was entirely performance-based. Some insiders suggest that the move may have been influenced by legal concerns or reputational risks, especially given the sensitive timing of the recruitments, most of which occurred after the 2024 general elections.
The Alliance for a Green Revolution in Africa is urging governments across sub-Saharan Africa to allocate at least 10% of their national budget to the agricultural sector. Director of Communications and Advocacy at AGRA, Agnes Konde, says the investment is crucial to transforming agriculture, boosting food security, and driving economic growth in the region.
But more importantly, as you know, the CADAP declaration is asking for countries to commit at least 10% of their budgets to the agriculture sector. And right now we are operating almost under 3%. So what does it take to make sure that we increase investments in the sector, but also that we attract private sector to help innovate, improve, add value to the crops that the smallholder farmers are growing, so that we can be able to feed our country with foods that we grow here and that we are not increasing our import bill as a country. Certainly, we have advanced. I think there's been a lot of progress in the sector. If you look at, for example, in terms of research and development, we've got a lot of progress around some of the varieties that have been developed. But what we are seeing is adoption of this is still under 30%. So there is progress, but there's still a long mile that we can go so that each smallholder farmer can be able to feed themselves at least 12 months in a year.
That wraps up the business updates. Coming up next is AM Sports. Stay.